Is it worth waiting for the iPhone 14 if you're an iPhone user? And more importantly, if you're an Android user, should you switch to the iPhone 14 once it comes out? Speaking of switching, massive thanks to Clean My Mac X for sponsoring this video. If you have an older Mac, or even if you have the brand new 14 and 16-inch models and you want to make sure that they stay fast, then Clean My Mac X is the all-in-one tool that can do that. With Clean My Mac X, you can optimize your Mac by deleting unnecessary cache files, re-indexing Spotlight, repairing disk permissions, completely removing every trace of an app, and so much more. Check out Clean My Mac X by using the link below. And now, back to the video. If you are an iPhone user, there are three main upgrades you would get with the iPhone 14. The first one is the notch, which is finally going away. Kinda. Ross Young, who to this day is still 100% accurate, reported that the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max will remove the notch in favor of this hole plus pill design, with a hole housing the dot projector, while the pill would house the selfie and the infrared camera required for Face ID. Another reason for this design is Apple wanting to stand out from the competition. You see, Huawei already has a couple of phones with this pill-shaped design. If Apple had included the dot projector under the display, or even extended the pill, it would have looked too similar to these Huawei phones. I just hope that we get the battery percentage back and some of the other indicators that we lost when we got a notch. The second big upgrade for you iPhone users out there would be the camera. You see, for the very first time since the 2015's iPhone 6s, Apple is set to increase the resolution of the main module from 12 megapixels to 48. And that's a 4 times resolution increase, and while adding more pixels doesn't necessarily translate into a better camera, as we've seen on plenty of mid-range Android smartphones with 108 megapixel sensors, having this much resolution does bring a few advantages. The biggest one being 8K video, which is something that Samsung has had for a few years now. However, due to the immense data processing required for it, the footage looked quite soft, and if there was zero image processing applied to it, with shadow detail being very poor. Apple could really make 8K video viable, judging by how good their 4K video already is. Now, the other improvement that this new 48 megapixel sensor could bring is more zoom. Unlike Samsung, Apple is not set to be adding a 10x periscope zoom module until at least 2023. However, they could merge the data from the 3x module with the data from the 48 megapixel sensor, which would technically be a 4x digital zoom module if you think about it. That way, they could give us a pretty decent 4x hybrid zoom. Still not as good as, the optical 10x that Samsung has, but potentially better than all the other Android phones that have 3x. And on top of this, low light could see some improvements here too. Usually sensors with a high megapixel count are worse in low light due to how small their pixels are. So to counteract this, Samsung introduced pixel binning, where in low light situations, multiple pixels on the sensor would act as one larger pixel. This definitely works for photos, where the S22 Ultra has proven to be better than the iPhone 13 Pro Max. But it never really worked for video due to the sheer amount of data processing required, even for pixel binning apparently. So I'm a bit worried that by Apple adding a 48 megapixel sensor, we might actually get a downgrade in terms of low light video. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this is not the case, especially with Apple's extremely capable upcoming A16 chip. And the third upgrade is when it comes to the design. The iPhone 14 is rumored to introduce a brand new design that resembles the iPhone 4 quite heavily. And I mean, sure, you could say the same about the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 13, both of which had this flat frame body. But these actually resembled the iPhone 5 rather than the 4. The 4 had two glass pieces, the display and the back, that would sit on top of this metal frame, giving it this sandwich-style look, whereas the iPhone 5 was completely flat. This sandwich-style design is what the iPhone 14 is set to feature, with things such as the circular volume buttons, as well as the large speaker grille cutouts making a comeback. I honestly think that this will be the best iPhone design yet. On top of this, we also expect to see some new colors. We haven't really had any leaks of these yet, so we rendered some of the colors that we believe we might see. For the iPhone 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, we have matte black, silver, gold, alongside this new purple color that we absolutely love. For the iPhone 14 and 14 Max, we rendered the standard black and silver colors, and then I was thinking that Apple hasn't done any vibrant colors since the iPhone 5C and the 4th gen iPod Nanos. So this was what inspired us to to do these super vibrant red, blue, purple, and lime green colors. To me, they look absolutely delicious. I'm not even kidding, it makes me want to get the green one and bite into it in hopes of, I don't know, an apple flavor. Yeah, they look so good. So what if you are an Android user? Should you consider getting an iPhone 14? Well, I think that the #1 reason to consider the iPhone 14 isn't necessarily anything to do with the hardware, but more to do with the level of integration that you get with all the other Apple products. For example, if you have an Apple Watch and an Apple TV, you can start a workout directly from your living room, and your Apple Watch will show you your heart rate and the amount of burned calories in real time on your TV's display. Or how whenever I post something on Instagram, at Zone of Tech by the way, I actually always write the description on my Mac and then I copy and paste it directly to my iPhone. Or how I can simply read an email on my iPhone, even write half of the response, only to then pick up right from where I left off from my Mac in like 2 seconds. Apple's products work so well together, and there isn't another ecosystem like this. So if you already have an iPad or a Mac, getting an iPhone for this level of integration is a pretty good idea. The second reason to consider the iPhone 14 is for a consistent camera experience. With all the Android phones that I've used, I've noticed that I could take some very impressive shots that I could not take on my iPhone, thanks to things such as 10x optical zoom on the S21 Ultra, or the unique image processing that Google offers you at night. However, the consistency of these great shots was never great. One moment I could take an outstanding shot, but then when I switched to the ultra-wide module, I was quite disappointed. Or how, when I switched to video, I noticed that the footage was quite soft or shaky. My point here is that with an iPhone, even though you don't get as many unique and mind-blowing camera features, the experience that you get out of the camera is always very consistent. No matter if you're using the ultra-wide, the telephoto module, in daytime, nighttime photo, or video, the end result is always good. The third reason to consider the iPhone 14 is longevity. And by this I mean multiple things. The battery life is one of them. iPhones have always had the reputation of having a poor battery life, but this is no longer the case. The iPhone 13 Pro Max not only defeats the S22 Ultra, which is a new phone with a much larger battery, a more power-efficient display and processor, but it does so by an incredibly large margin of 2 hours and 20 minutes of actual usage, all while pushing more pixels than the S22 Ultra. That's insane. The iPhone 14s are said to be getting thicker to accommodate even larger batteries. If Apple made an iPhone with the same specs as the S22 Ultra, that would last for days. So yeah, if you need a long-lasting phone, the iPhone 14 would be a great reason to switch. Another thing to consider here is the OS support. The iPhone 6s, a phone that was released 7 years ago, is still running on Apple's latest software. On top of this, Apple still offers repairs for it and will soon allow you to repair your iPhone at home by sending you the components and manuals you need. So the fact that you can buy an iPhone today and know that you'll be able to use it for at least the next 7 years is pretty amazing. Of course, that switching to an iPhone does mean that you'll lose the level of customization that Android has to offer, and side-by-side multitasking, and features such as 10x optical zoom, reverse wireless charging, and so much more. But what you are getting is a very reliable experience in every single way. And if you want that, the iPhone 14 would be a great time to switch. Just like it is a great time to subscribe to the channel for more iPhone 14 leaks, rumors, and content. Let us know what makes you excited for the iPhone 14, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Zone of Tech, signing out. Cheers.